Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Armada Village Council. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. You want to call a roll?
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Yeah.
Cronin.
Here.
Adair.
Here.
Delkey.
Here.
Garza. Here. Sturt is absent.
I think we need a pen. I always have a like half dozen pens in front of me.
I don't know who puts them there.
I don't know. I think I always have
Must be
pens.
planning.
You got the attendance?
Yep.
Okay, you have the agenda before you. I need a motion of approval.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support that. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Citizen comment.
Nothing from me. I'm good.
Okay. We have no presentations tonight. Moving into administrative reports. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mine should be short and sweet. You guys have the minutes in front of you for the planning commission. They did have the flyers at the, well, what they did at the park was McKenna had 3 representatives there, and they asked the people we announced before the concert started that we wanted the input from the crowd. And I think they got like maybe 6 or 7 people that actually put their ideas down. They had a sticky tape notes and they put them on the board so everyone could see them. So that's what they did. That was what was
Like,
happening.
is it gonna be every
We're
one
gonna
of
do
the concerts
no,
up
we're
to
gonna
the
do it one
closing
more.
of
We're gonna
the?
do it one more time, I think, Ross,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, just one more
And
time.
some of those have been posted at places, and then the QR code on there with your phone, you could
Right.
do the thing too.
Yeah, Steve was in. I think you know more than I do about it.
Or you
Yeah.
can,
There's no particular topic. It's not like, what do you think about this? They want to know what's your ideas, what's your views, what do you see in the future for Armada?
Right.
So it was-
they can also come into the office and pick
Yes.
those up too.
Yeah.
And drop off. Do you have to do it on the QR? Can you do it?
No, I think you can drop it off.
Okay.
I'm sure you can.
All right.
Yeah. And then also, Fritz proposed a new proposal, and I want to go on record as that I think we have to, whatever it takes, we have to do something to get that done. We want these proposing condos now, and I've had some discussion with Mr. Cronin and Al, who's on the commission. We want to work with Fritz. Hopefully he'll bend some too, but we need to get it done.
Yeah, we did talk with Christie, our chairman, and she is going to talk to the planner, you know, how can we make this work? We're all pretty sure that we can go with the numbers that Mr. Fritz would like
Right.
in that small space.
Right.
But maybe there's a happy medium there. He's got some excellent points. I mean, he's got to have enough, because he's got to do all the sewer,
Right, all the development.
sewer, water, road. But hopefully our planner will work with us and help us do something here. But we are willing to bend, to make that a special district or whatever it has to be. Okay.
That's it for me.
That's it. Do you have anything, Joe, from the police?
I
Steve,
do.
you got something?
Yeah, with Mike being out of town, Dan down at the sewer plant gave me a buzz. We had a flood in the south pipe gallery again. Doesn't know how and why. He's pumping it out and see what went bad, if it was evidently something up with the sump pump. So we'll be looking into that.
Didn't affect the operation?
No, it didn't affect the operation, but it shorted out a couple of things again. So if this persists, we may
But
have
this,
to.
is that in the big pump room there? or-
Well, it's the newest addition on the south side where all the valving came out. and it sits extremely low. And I'd be interested to see, take an elevation up that floor and an elevation of the creek, and I would suspect we're about even. And it's, I mean, the ground is saturated with water through there. So that sump pump, even when we have a 2-week dry spell, it's pumping.
Still pumping.
And now we've had these pretty good sized rains. They had 3.2 inches down at the sewer plant
Yeah.
the last spring.
Right.
So it may come to a point, as much as I wouldn't want to, but call in the engineer that designed all this and say, how do we fix this? We can't keep spending money on some of these problems that come up when it floods. So that'll be looked into.
Amy? We don't have any dates?
We don't. I bug him every week. He's working right now, the subcontractor and the contractor are working together to figure out a date. So I will let you know.
It'd be really nice to have a date for the next meeting.
I would have loved to have had a date for this meeting. I'm trying.
And he is aware of the fair date, so I
Yes.
said, please
Yes.
work around.
Yes, and even if they start before the fair and do that first part,
Yeah,
you know, because we're gonna have to take kind of what we can get, as
Right,
long as
no.
they're not doing anything major, because there's too much traffic. It won't be fun for the contractor,
Right.
and it won't be fun for anybody else if
Right.
they're, you know.
Right now, I'm not worried about the fair. I'm worried about getting this job.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, and last but not least, the man we all missed last meeting.
And
For the first time ever.
First time ever, yeah. I'm gonna make up for it this time. So,
We predicted that.
sorry, I don't
You're
mean
gonna
to.
hand me that sheet when you're done.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
All right, let's try to make it brief. A lot of stuff going on. I do have a copy of F&V's water monitoring schedule for the remainder of the year. So this includes all the routine sampling that we do, plus it incorporates the Eagle mandated yearly sampling, which is different than stuff that we test. So anybody that doesn't think we test our water all the time, come and talk to me. We test it all of the time. So anyway, we've got that done. Everything should be done, tested, results sent into the state by the middle of October, which is on schedule. I have a start of work meeting with HydroCorp tomorrow at 1 o'clock. HydroCorp's been working with us for a bunch of years now. A bunch of years is about 5. Doing cross-connection and backflow prevention inspections for us. Something's broke because I got a whole slew of return notifications, so I got to talk to him about that. In any case, we have started a new series of contracts. They're usually on a 2-year cycle, and I'm meeting up with them tomorrow just to go over details, and that's going to be one of them. Why do our addresses not match up? Anyway, 1 o'clock for anybody that wants to be there. At the last meeting, I talked about the fact that water treatment, wastewater treatment, and the DPW got inspected by the fire marshal, which is a good thing. Should do it on a regular basis. I've given Steve copies of the reports for the DPW and wastewater treatment, since he's kind of covering for Mike now, and I've got the water. Anybody wants to take a peek at it. We had no issues in water, so we're good.
Can I get a copy of that file?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, that's a good point. Can I just send you the 3 files?
Yeah.
And you just print them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you should have them for our records. One of the contract items for this year that we budgeted for was for UIS SCADA to come out and do a preventative maintenance series of checks on our waterworks facilities. This is all the telemetry and all of the operating systems that make our system work. They went through everything. It's good to do that on a recurring basis every 2 to 3 years, just to make sure stuff functions the way it's supposed to. Everything was great. We did have an opportunity to make some adjustments on some aspects of the system, so we did that. only set us back about $2,000, so that was well worth the effort. These preventative maintenance things, I think, are important for us. It's beyond the capability of the DPW to do, and it's these guys special.
Right on schedule.
Yeah, you bet.
We, talking to Paul, Amy was talking about the fact that she was talking to Paul. He's got to be jammed with stuff, right? So I'm asking him about where we are on the legal paperwork to submit to the county for the easement to the wastewater treatment plant. So it's access easement and it's utility easement. He's about ready to turn it over to Jeff Bohorski so Jeff can do the final legalese. What the heck is, oh, so that's,
Yeah.
Every meeting we
Every
think of
meeting.
this.
I always gotta wonder what the heck it is.
Let me just.
So that's about ready to go. I do not think that the project's gonna go this year. We'll get the legal paperwork ironed out, it'll go into the county. I assume the county's gonna give us an approval. There's nothing really, no real reason why they would reject this, but it's just the amount of time it's gonna take. So I don't think we're gonna get a shovel in the ground on this project, but we'll do everything up to that point, and then we just hang on to the money for next year. One thing that I want to come back, I'm going to check some numbers, come back to council on, is it may be possible for me to combine a project I was going to work on next year, which is in the capital improvement plan, have Roe do the engineering for both of those, one big bid package, instead of two bid packages, one bid package, and then see if we can find somebody to come out and do both projects, which means they mobilize one time. It's a money saver, really, when you get right down to it. But I got to make sure that I got sufficient money coming out of next year to be able to do it. So the good news is Paul's getting ready to submit that to Jeff. Let's see, this was, okay. Talked about that. So I'm having a good time sitting in Europe with a beer in my hand, and then I get a blip on my phone, which is Eagle, sending me their usual love notes. We're going to have a water system sanitary survey inspection on the 8th of July. They had sooner dates, and I asked for the 8th of July. So that was the inspection we had in 2018, late 2018, that really laid the groundwork for us to bring on F&V as a water operator. I mean, they were working sewer, but they weren't working water. This appears to be a different type of an inspection. It's a sanitary survey inspection, but they've changed the way they inspect. I'm gonna leave it at that. I've got all the paperwork, but I gotta get Dave together with Mike Glasgow. I think we're in good shape for it, to be honest with you. But who the heck knows? I mean, this is a different type of inspection, and it's a big inspection.
So they're going to be down at the sewer plant then also?
I don't think so. It's just water. So I've asked Dave to make sure he knows where all of his keys are, because he's got to open everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock on the 8th of July. We'll start here, so you're welcome to attend.
Yeah.
We're in good standing with Eagle, so I don't expect anything to go south, and all of the deficiencies that we had that were reported back from this old survey, we've corrected, long since corrected. So we're in good shape. One of those was to fix the cross connection and backflow prevention program, as an example. So all that stuff's been fixed. But I think we're in good shape, but who knows where this is going to go. There's pages of inspection stuff. I did provide a couple public info sections on village water system. This stuff always bubbles up on Facebook every quarter at billing time. And do I have to do it? No, but I think it's important to be available and offer to do it. We had 2 sessions. The first session was pretty well attended. The second session was a month later, and the world had moved on, and people weren't that particularly concerned. They had other issues to get involved with, so we didn't have much turnout the second time. But I was there, and it allows me to say, hey, we're open kimono. We're not trying to hide anything. Stuff is what it is, but I think we do a good job here of managing water and getting best value for our dollar. Okay. Something that's coming up, I would recommend we perhaps consider resolving it at the next meeting. I was going to try to do it for this one, but I don't want to sandbag anybody. We've got about 9 months to go before our contract with F&V expires. It's a 5-year contract. It expires the 31st of March, this 2026. So if we're going to do something with that, we should probably start putting a committee together and talking about what changes we want to make. I don't think Mike wants to make many changes. He's pretty happy. I've got some changes I need to make with water. But there's a wild card, and the wild card is council's talked a little bit about potentially pulling water back under the village's control, and in other words, not necessarily giving it back to F&V. But we got to decide what kind of DPW we're going to have to manage that.
Well, first of all, I don't recall this discussion you're talking about. That council discussed pulling it back from F&V. No offense.
There's been comments over time that we should be able to manage the water system.
Well, there's been times that that all of us thought perhaps maybe Dave could be doing a little more in the water department than he's been doing.
Okay, if I've misunderstood.
Yeah, but I think that's really been kind of the extent of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think F&B does a good job. The issue is the management of water systems for municipalities has fundamentally changed over the last 5 years. And all this stuff that I talked to you about is water stuff that in a lot of cases we didn't really do in the past, or we did it at a much less involved amount of effort. I guess that's a bad way to say it, but I'll say it that way. And so to try to decide what we want to do with this contract and then have Dave Wagner retire over the next 2 years. I've asked him, I know Michelle's asked him, he's 1 to 2 years is what he says.
Yeah, we've all asked them.
Yeah, and I guess my point is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to go through a contract negotiation if his retirement then changes the dynamics of all of that. So we really ought to talk contract and DPW superintendent all at the same time. And since Dave says he's not going anywhere until at least next June or beyond, what I would recommend to council consider is a 1-year extension of the F&V contract without any changes other than they're going to ask for a little bit more money, as they always do based upon
Cost of living.
Cost of living and stuff like that. So
That's what they expected.
yeah, so I'm going to bring that back because if we don't want to do that, then we need to start thinking about a committee right now to figure out what we want to renegotiate with them. I think it's a better thing to let it ride for a year and then get Dave and the new contract all in the same bucket and then really decide how we want to move forward. And that's a great time then to decide that, hey, we want the new DPW superintendent to be able to focus on these additional water tasks.
Well, that's why we need to know that, because if we're gonna go forward with hiring somebody, we need to know what their duties are gonna be.
Absolutely.
You and I have talked about that.
Yeah, roles and responsibilities. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. It's a lot of stuff, guys. It's a lot of stuff. So the new superintendent needs to be prepared for that,
Yep.
and we need a guy that's.
I'm thinking that, we've had a lot of problems hiring good people that
Yeah.
like have water licenses, or we
Yeah.
tried to educate workers and it hasn't worked out. I think there's really a good chance that we're gonna be doing a lot more, like privatization, using F and M.
Yeah, and
It's getting pretty hard for us to run it. Now, prior to you being you may not remember so much, but we used to have a superintendent that handled the water.
oh, yeah.
And he had a water licenses,
Yeah.
and he did the contacts with Eagles, and he
Did the
did
reports.
everything.
We did.
And then, he'd let the water commissioner know, but it was more done in-house. And like
Yeah.
you say, this job has expanded some, and,
Yeah, and it's not a good thing, a bad thing, it's just a thing. And
It's
so
just
we just
right.
need to figure out how we wanna move forward with it, and I wouldn't try to do one without considering the other.
Yeah.
And so I'll bring that to council and see where council wants to go with the contract. I would just recommend an extension for a year, and then we deal with it. And I think that's it.
that's what you keep telling me, you're gonna leave us. You wanna extend it and.
How much more time do I got?
Till November 2026.
2026?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
a little over a year.
All right, well, that last 6 months would be a barn burner.
Well, no, and honestly, that's why, because I was gonna bring that up tonight about the DPW superintendent. We need to put together something to get moving on that, because if Ross leaves in November and Dave is staying until May, just for dates, I don't know, till May, there's gonna be November to May, that who can do these reports and who can get this stuff done. So we really need to look at if depending on what we do, but if we're gonna hire somebody to replace him, we need to get somebody in here, and we're gonna have to advertise in trade magazines, it's gonna be a different process than putting something in a local paper saying, hey, we need this guy, well, good luck
Yeah,
finding him. It's gonna be very,
It's well beyond that
Yes,
now.
yes.
You have to
I
have
agree.
somebody that's.
And
No, I
that's
agree.
why I think we really need to privatize it, just like we did
Yeah.
with the sewer plant, because it's getting to be beyond our control.
Yeah.
and if that's the case, then the new DPW supervisor will do the other stuff.
Well,
No
they'll
water.
still have plenty involvement with water,
Yeah.
but
Yes, he would.
but you got anything else for us right now?
No, sir.
Okay, that covers our administrative reports. Consent agenda.
I would resolve to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
You got that?
Yep.
Adair and Sean. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's approved. No old business. Under part-time labor employment, we're doing that right now.
Yeah, you guys need to figure out
Well,
what
yeah,
you're
I
gonna
know,
pay.
but
Yeah.
it should say upcoming agenda, it's
Oh,
new business.
well, crap.
Yeah,
Sorry, everybody's agendas are wrong.
okay. Anyhow, we're,
I know what I mean.
the part-time employee, you wanna take that, Steve?
Yeah, we had a few applications, and Mr. Wagner, who's our PPW supervisor, and myself agreed that Eric Serenius would make a good employee, so the only thing we didn't really discuss is the hourly wage that we want to agree to. I talked to Becky last week, and the previous part-time employee was making $18 an hour. And then she kind of suggested, the cost of living has come up, so I don't know if you want to bump it to $18.50 or go with 18. And then the other thing that's not on here is the end, wasn't it the end of October that we run to?
November 30th.
Yeah, I think we got through November. didn't
Well,
we?
when we did the last motion, it said that it would expire in November. If you want to put it on the end of this one, we can do that as well. But
Okay.
it was in the first motion.
Okay.
And then you never know how that works, you might. end up- Okay, do you
End
wanna
of, end
make,
of November or beginning of November?
I thought it was November.
I thought it was November 30th.
Yeah.
Okay, all
or
right.
you could say sometime in November?
Yeah.
Not to
And
exceed.
then if you want to think of a little more money, I mean, here it is, June is almost over with, and last year, we had the guy working
Yeah.
already for a month.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Everybody cool with 1850?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm cool.
That's
Okay.
great.
Okay, I will move to extend Eric Serenius an offer of part-time employment with the Village of Armada Department of Public Works at a rate of $18.50 an hour, starting after pre-employment background check, physical drug screening.
Support.
And the employment will expire November 30th.
Support. All right.
Re-support.
Motion by Clark, supported by Shaw.
Did I say 2025?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
All right.
And you can call the roll.
Clark,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Elke,
Yes.
Barzick,
Yes.
Dare,
Yes.
Yes.
Conan. Well, I'm excited to see Eric because he was my neighbor the entire time we grew up together. So
I think he's making a good employee.
See, I haven't seen him in a while.
I knew Eric pretty well myself, but
And
that
he
was
is
when he was a
operating
kid.
equipment. I think he'll be good for us.
Yep, I think so too.
Okay,
Hope so.
moving on, modification of the water tower standpipe. You got quite a bit there on this one,
Yeah,
Ross.
that's a mouthful. All right, one of our budget items has been the resheathing of the standpipe, big long pipe from the top of the water tower down actually about 7 feet underground. It's got a bunch of insulation on it. It's got to be protected so it doesn't freeze. It's a metal pipe. Needs to be treated for rust and needs to be solidly wrapped. Pipe is rusting and the wrapping is coming undone after 25, 30 years now. What are we, 96, 95, 96?
Something like that.
Yeah.
95, so.
You might recall that had indicated that past meetings that we were planning on painting what they call the wet bowl, which is inside of the tower in the fall anyway. So we were trying to get these two projects done together. And the permit work for that is moving forward now, so I think it's going to happen September, October.
We've
But-
never done this before?
We have not done this before, so.
Oh, we got the maintenance contract and that, but it doesn't cover this insulation.
Well, the painting is part of the maintenance contract.
Right.
The resheathing is not.
That's what I
So
thought.
we did have that in the budget, but the reason why this has been held up for several months, otherwise I would have gone out on this, is after talking to the water tower guys, I realized that we're talking past each other. If you go into the tower, and you can see in the pictures here towards the back, the whole inside wall of the lower base of the tower, up to about 32 feet, is full of insulation. And that insulation is also deteriorating. So the tower guy's talking about the standpipe, and I'm talking about the insulation on the inside of the tower base. So we finally figured out that we were talking past each other and got our act together a little bit. The reality is that they said they have never seen another tower with that inside insulation around the base of the tower. And they said, we really do not recommend that because it masks rust on the metal of the tower. And so we started poking around just to double check, and everything looked good. And then we found a big rust patch. And that was on the west-facing wall, and I'm really kind of concerned about the north-facing wall because the tower tends to have condensation and it drips over there. So I suspect there's a lot of rust. Long story short, I said, all right, how much to pull all that insulation off, get rid of it, and then not treat the rust, but let's just get it exposed and see what we have. It's $32,000. So it's a chunk of money that I had not expected to pay, and I didn't have it budgeted this year. But I said, okay, well, what can you guys do for us? Now, for the standpipe wrapping, we had set it up so that we would pay $8,000, give or take, for 3 years, and that would take care of that. So I said, can you do something? Can you take the $24,000 and the standpipe insulation And removal of all of this other tower-based insulation, again, 32 feet up, can you put that in there? So that comes up to $55,000, whatever that is, 56,
Yeah.
almost 57. I said, can you make that over a period of years? And I said, can you do it over 5 years? No interest. They said yes. So even Becky said that's a great deal. So this has got the Becky seal of approval. So unless somebody wants a little bit more technical discussion about it, I'm going to leave it at that. I did do a write-up.
What are they gonna use for it? Okay, like this insulating, they've never seen that. What are they gonna do to keep that?
They will take off the insulation on the standpipe, they will scrape it, paint it, and then they will re-wrap it with new insulation.
Oh, they will, but they just haven't
Yeah.
seen the insulation.
Yeah, and they said that should be sufficient to keep anything from freezing there. And they said, we don't know why there's insulation on the wall, because nobody does that, because it masks problems, and I can appreciate that it does.
So where
but-
will the new insulation go? Where does the new
The
insulation?
new insulation will go on what they call the standpipe. It's this
On
big-
the outside.
Big pipe
No,
that goes up from the center of the tower all the way to the top. That's where the water gets pumped in and out of. And so that's what's going to get wrapped. Instead of, I mean,
All the walls.
the easiest way you can see it is this pedestal base. It's all around the inside of that. They said you shouldn't really do that. So they got to get rid of it. What makes it, and pulling the insulation off is easy, but every 18 inches or so is an aluminum hanger with a spike on it, which they push the insulation over and then they put a button on top of it.
Isn't there some kind of, isn't it dangerous or something? There's some kind of,
Well, the insulation's, you don't want, if you're gonna pull that stuff off, you need to have a respirator.
Right.
So they'll have guys that are, hopefully they're not working in temperatures like this, but they'll be suited up and have respirators. And we could take the insulation off and tackle it that way, but then you've got to imagine, it's like the inside of a porcupine, you got all these spikes sticking out. So as a safety thing, you got to take those off. The good news is it's easy to take them off. The bad news is there's about 1 million of them. So they're going to go and hit it with a cold chisel and a hammer, and they generally pop off. They're just epoxied on, but that way then the inside side walls of the tower are smooth. They can see if there's any corrosion. They can treat the corrosion, which is what their contract requires them to do. So we're adding rough numbers, $32,000, $32,204 to the cost of the tower renovations, but we're spreading it out over 5 years. So the real cost of the water department is $11,000 a year, which is great, because then that's a small enough amount that I can do other things. And
want to make the motion there?
Yep, I'm going to make the motion unless there's somebody wants more information. So the motion is to approve a USG contract amendment for the additional water tower insulation work at a cost increase of $32,204. So the total cost of all of that work is $56,783. Payable in increments over a 5-year period. The budget amendment will be required to increase the amount of funds currently committed. Because again, it's only $8,000 a year. I got to make it $11,000 and change. Currently committed to cover the scope of this effort and to ensure sufficient funds in out-year water budgets. So we'll amend the capital improvement plan to put it in there so we don't lose track of it.
I'll support that.
Support by
Thank
Clint.
Should we say that in the motion that it's $11,000, approximately $11,000?
I don't have it in there, but that's what it effectively will be.
He's got it, if you look at this other sheet, he's got it pretty well
Got it.
explained.
Payout schedule.
He's got that whole schedule there.
It says, next year it's gonna be $22,000. maybe the next year it'll be 8,000.
He's got it right here. It's
Yeah,
all-
I would,
I just wanted to know.
yeah, after tonight, I would tell Bill at USG to go ahead and get the amendment. I'll make sure that Ann looks at it, Becky looks at it, and that it's got this amount. In other words, there's no cost growth or anything. I understand your concern about that. As I say, the beauty is there's no interest to doing it. So it's more money, but it's easily affordable.
So, we have this motion now, you want to take a roll call, please?
Belkey,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Garzik,
Yes.
Adair, Conan,
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they negotiated a pretty good deal for us here.
It's a good deal.
Yeah. Okay, change order for Cape Sealing.
Just like a little recap, we have the change order number 1. We had taken off the sewer part of the Cape Seal project, and so they had to renegotiate the price. And the contractor did not take off the amount for maintaining traffic, mobilization, and cleanup. He left that, he felt like he needed to leave that on there. So, needless to say, resolved to approve the change order number 1 for the 2025 Cape Seal program in the amount of $7,680.42 for maintaining traffic, mobilization, and cleanup.
Support.
Okay. Again, we'll have a roll call. And motion by Barzak, supported by Shaw.
Garzik,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Adair, Conan.
Yes. Okay, motion's approved. Citizen comments.
So, just real quick, so Bob Ricker from Franklin Lane. I didn't get to make the water meeting, and I was wondering if there was any input from the water meeting. Input from the water meeting on Tuesday. It's just an open comment, I'm not questioning the individual board members, just throwing it out there if there was.
I would tell you that I modified some of the charts. I put a chart in there that showed the quarterly water payments. You're effectively using them for 3 months. A month later, you get a bill, and then a month later, you got to have the bill paid. So that delay a lot of times causes people to lose track of when they increase water use, decrease water use. They wonder why bills changes. So I was trying to talk to the reason why sometimes the amounts fluctuate. At the end of the day, we do not know what people use the water for. All we know is what the meter says.
Right.
And the meters are highly accurate.
A lot of people came.
No, not the second meeting. I had
Other
a
than
couple
board members, what?
couple
2
people. I had Dave came for a little bit. Dave Clore came. Kevin came. Patty Clark came, and it was me. I was kind of lonely. Just got back. From
But I don't know if he's got a copy of that.
I will get a copy
Yeah,
to you.
That was a good handout that you had.
I'd love to
Yeah,
have a
thanks.
copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want you to have the updated.
I apologize for that.
No.
No, that's. I thought I tried to get it advertised, but I don't know how well that.
Have you been giving out handouts?
I do, if people ask them, yeah, I did at the first one, I'll get you a copy, and I'll get you the updated copy.
Yep.
And,
Yeah,
I got your email,
was
so
wonderful, yeah.
Actually, she should have one to put in the file.
Yeah.
file, yeah. Well, and I want to leave some, Michelle,
Yeah.
here in case
Yep.
people come in and say, I missed it, can I have the updated set of charts?
Do you have anything else, Bob?
No.
Okay, are there any other citizen comments? Okay, then, council comments?
Again, I just want to reiterate on the Fritz thing, that if we look at it from the revenue that the village should take in, I think it's a win-win situation for the village, and that's why I'm really pushing for it.
Sounds good. I think it's something the community needs, really.
That's a good need for it, been asked by many people.
Okay, now, community events, we'll lead off with you, Mike.
Concerts in the park this Wednesday, hopefully weather permitting, it's not 115 degrees out there.
It is predicting some thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Are there any other community events that we got coming in? I can't think of anything right now.
4th of July. Something planned for that.
The Parks has a 4th of July,
The concert's the Wednesday.
yes,
before.
it's, we supply hot dogs and people usually do potluck. And it's a fun time for the family.
Fireworks or parade?
No, no
No,
fireworks.
None of that.
No, we're not that,
Are they gonna do fireworks in town
Just-
like that?
Unless Dave wants to bring some fireworks.
No, no fireworks, extra insurance.
Just another quick update. So the council knows that we've submitted for a state historic marker for the village through the Historical Society, and that's passed through the first hurdle now, and it's going up before the State Historical Commission to review it. And it's it really focuses in on the founding of the village and the incorporation of the village, now that we have the right dates and all that stuff. So that's moving forward.
Okay. Okay, then moving on, we have no closed session, so I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
What
I
time?
make a motion that we.
7:41, 7:45.
So who's making that, Shaw or
Yeah, I'll
Becky?
make it.
Done that.
Do you second, Becky?
No,
Yes.
a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed, meeting's adjourned.
Even with